It's probably a little bit more than that. It's 39 this morning.
Yeah, we were 30s this morning.
It's 48 here.
Oh, so we might be about the same. We're a little rainy
Yeah,
stuff here too.
yeah, it's a little rainy here too. Well, I don't know. It's pretty normal this time of year.
Yeah.
A deer in my yard. I'll tell you, if I was a deer hunter, I would not have to go very far.
You could just shoot them.
Just right out of my office window.
We haven't seen them. We haven't seen them in a little bit, but we had some deer over the summer, and they had like I guess a mom and two babies actually. So the two. What do they call the little ones? I don't know if they're calves.
Fawns.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so two little fawns. So, yeah. So I wrote down a few ideas. I get the first thing on my list here is your birthday week.
Yes, it was a good birthday week.
Was it? Yeah.
I aged another year, and so I normally don't celebrate my birthday. And this year, a couple of guy friends of mine took me out, and that was fun. But yeah, I'm not a huge birthday celebratory person, I guess.
No, I'm not either. Well, I think other people around me are more than I am. But
yeah, so it's nice to go out and have fun. So this was just kind of a guys' night. I think it was more of an excuse for them to go out than anything.
Well, yeah.
So
that's right.
So there's that. But it had a lot of fun, and got home before midnight, and completely hungover the next day.
Was it a weekday?
It was a Friday, so
okay.
No, it was okay. So I didn't have to endure trying to code while hungover, which happens, but it's not the most pleasant.
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, like I said, I don't celebrate. But how old did you turn?
If I did the math, I think that it works out to 37.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah, so
that's how it goes. That's
ticking up.
Well, I was reading about. I've kind of been thinking about it because I'm 39 this year. So August I turned 39. So next year is big 40.
Oh yeah.
And I think like at what point do you start saying like I'm a little old for that, or that's
well, I don't know. I guess it all depends on the definition of that.
Yeah, I mean, so it's unacceptable for us to wear flat brim hat, for example.
I hope so. And unfortunately, I think that we know a Dizzle that would absolutely be all over.
Well, yeah, so that's out. But what about the electric skateboards, right? I mean, so I've seen a lot of on YouTube the people with those. I'm not talking about the two-wheel ones. I'm talking about the ones you stand on that have a remote. Have you seen that?
Oh, I've not seen that. Ironically, I have seen. I don't. It's not ironic at all. Get my terms straight here, but I have seen the two-wheel thing when I was in Tennessee.
Yeah.
A weird airport to see that in too. You're in Tennessee, and it's like you have this kid that's just strolling around on this Segway without an upright, and
right.
Weird.
Yeah.
Of course, he had a guitar strapped to his back, and
yeah.
So maybe there's the irony. The technology meeting the country bumpkin or whatever.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'll send you a link about the. I think they're just called turbo boards or something like that. But Casey Neistat, the guy whose YouTube I sent you.
Yeah,
he has one. So
yeah, well, you know what it is. We're in 2015, and everyone wanted their hoverboards.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So now anything that's you strap a motor on a skateboard, and people are all about it because it's one step closer to a hoverboard in their minds.
Right.
Let's not forget that putting a motor on a skateboard is not necessarily a revolutionary idea.
Right. Yes. I'll send you this. So If you want to watch that right in Slack there, you could.
I have, this is a different video, but it's a much larger board than he had before, isn't it?
Well, the ones that he uses in the airport, that's a penny board.
This guy is just he likes skateboards. I mean, look, he's got this like skateboard Batmobile unicycle thing in the background here.
Yeah, he's got a couple skateboards there. Yeah.
I don't even know what that thing is. Maybe that's just a balance board. I don't.
No, there's a motor in that, I think.
Well, of course there is. There's, this guy is also is just a prime candidate for an evil villain that's going to be riding around in some gyroscopic mega machine, especially with that yellow jumpsuit. So, speaking of things that we're too old for, it's nothing to do with the skateboard, but that yellow jumpsuit, you and I tried to get in one of those.
I think that Casey is older than we are. I think he's 45.
Well, then I'm going to start calling him Dr. Evil.
Yeah. So how's that grab you? Right?
Because right now he kind of looks like the young hip villain from Despicable Me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without the freeze gun.
I don't know what his name is. I can't think of his name. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The one with the automated house with the shark.
Right. Shoot, what is that guy's name? Anyway,
that's bugging me too. 45, huh? Well, yeah, I guess
I might be wrong. I'll check on it and see. Who knows?
I hope that he is, because that gives me all that means is that after I turn 40, then I'm just going to start feeling younger and younger.
Well, that might be a good 30-day challenge, is to not say I'm too old for that, or find instances that you would say that and purposely not say that.
And I normally don't say that, but maybe there's the other thing, putting yourself in a situation where you had to be like, no, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Maybe.
Well, there's a good example. There's a place kind of near here that the kids really like to go to. It's like what's it called? Whatever. It's like a big trampoline place. Have you heard of these places? It's like
yes, like these bounce gyms or
something. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
That place, and I've always been like that. Don't look for me on the trampolines. But no, it's a good example, right?
That would be a good example, and so perhaps my kid just isn't old enough to where I'm put in these positions where, no, son, Dad can't do that.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that would be a good YouTube channel, is doing things that we're technically too old for, embarrassing the kid. Again, your kid would be embarrassed.
No, but he will. I can just start doing stuff now in perpetuity. He can.
One day he will. Yeah.
Every year on his birthday, he gets a new embarrassing YouTube video from years ago.
So, in addition, we booked our tickets to England for Christmas. So we're currently planning that family vacation.
Nice.
Yep. So that'll be good. I don't have much to talk about with that really yet. So I haven't actually planned it much. I was thinking about doing a video about how to use OneNote for that. So when you fly to England, who do you generally fly? Well, we try very hard to fly British Airways.
Okay.
A lot of times, though, we run into, so even booking, if you go to BritishAirways.com and you book on their website, it turns out that that flight is operated by American Airlines.
Oh.
So you end up flying. And we almost always book British Airways and almost always end up on American.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. And the thing, and terrible because British Airways have such nicer airplanes.
It is, yeah. I mean, I have not flown American Airways. Is it AA or it would be American?
Yep.
Yeah,
Airlines.
Yes. I have not flown them since they jacked up our honeymoon. So that's been over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Getting us down to St. Lucia. So that's been a while, and
it's
a good strong boycott that I'm pretty happy.
Right, exactly. But for we are where we live. We're about as far from Chicago as we are from Detroit.
Yeah, so it makes almost no difference.
Yeah, so we fly whichever one is cheaper. It normally ends up being cheaper out of Chicago. So we fly out of
Yep.
Chicago, and almost all of the flights from Chicago to England are operated by American Airlines.
That is just
Yeah, yeah.
of
So
course
coming home from England to
it's
Chicago,
always British Airways.
yeah. But they're so much nicer. The TVs
Oh
are
yeah.
higher resolution. American sometimes doesn't even have screens on the thing, and the ones they do. So the weird thing is on American Airlines, and it must be a copyright issue, but so you'll dial up a movie, of which they only have 7 or 8, as opposed to the British Airways like hundreds, right? So you'll dial up which movie you want to watch, and it'll say this movie is starting in 3.5 minutes. And so like I think that they get probably a slight discount copyright wise to say we will only play this 4 times throughout the entire trip.
Sure, but whereas why you couldn't create some sort of partnership with Netflix or something like that would just give you unlimited
I don't understand. I mean,
movies. It just doesn't make any sense.
We seem to be paying enough money, right? I mean, the tickets are expensive enough. So.
Well, because I'm planning a trip, a guy's trip to England, Ireland, and Scotland in 2018. No, I'm sorry, 2017.
Okay.
And yeah, I haven't even really started looking into like airline prices or whatnot. But so that's kind of like the always, I don't know, not exactly sure what to budget there. But I figured, well, I'll just ask you, since you've done that.
If you plan it well enough in advance and you're somewhat flexible. So we're flying at Christmas, so it's a little more expensive. About $1,400 per person round trip.
Okay, that's not terrible. I was anticipating more. We'll be going in September.
Oh yeah, you could probably budget $1,000 each round trip.
That's not too shabby.
Yeah, and I bet you can come in under that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's So I think that'll be a fun trip, and then like the year after that, Jess is planning a wine trip for the women to go down to Napa or something like that.
Where we went for my sister's wedding is to Vasto, Italy.
Vasto, Italy.
Yep. So that's really nice.
I'm going to tell you not to talk to my wife. She's all very content with doing the Napa thing.
I'll tell you though, for yours and for hers, is I've seen both of those trips on Groupon. So if you're, like I said, if you're somewhat flexible with the times and you don't want, we want to fly in a certain date and blah blah. But if you're I'm good for 7 days in Ireland, Scotland, and England. I've seen Groupons for that for like $900, and that includes hotels and airfare.
And see, we're going to try something a little different. So the trip over there is for Master Masons only.
Oh, okay.
And so when we're going to fly into like London or something, you visit some Masonic places over there, and then try to rely on meeting other Masons, local Masons there, and see how far the fraternity actually stretches, right? See if we can either find places to stay or whatever. So we have not quite 2 years to forge those relationships.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the plan, is to go from London to wherever, and then Ireland, spend most of the time in Scotland, and then likely train back down to London to fly out.
So you don't want a pre-scheduled trip, but I've seen that.
Correct. Yes.
That Eastern Italy coast, I've seen that on Groupon too for pretty inexpensive. So
now that could be a very fun thing.
Yeah. And includes some wineries, includes some stuff like that. So she might be into that as well.
Yeah, that might actually be.
Let me take a note. If you're looking for, and only because I'll forget, but I'll send you a link for the trains, because the earlier you book, the better.
Yeah, because we're probably going to spend 2 weeks over there, so we were probably just going to get, a 1 month rail pass just to
I don't know.
pass out of it.
I think that you can get that for like downtown London, but I don't know if you can get that for a countrywide like version.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it varies by country. It seems like
Yeah.
in France you can get like a countrywide pass where you don't have to stand in a queue
Oh, okay.
and get a ticket from X to Y and just you know rail. I don't know if it's a Euro rail pass or what. Anyway, it's been it's been probably 10 years since I've been to England, so
Yeah.
that's been longer than that because I was in college when I went, so it's been closer to 15. But yeah, so we're gonna start researching all of that and try to have an idea as to what we want to do and how we want to get around and all that stuff.
I just know that the train tickets vary wildly when you do it, like worse than airline tickets.
Yes.
So I think that I booked because we were planning on visiting Edinburgh, Scotland. So I booked tickets from London to Scotland, and they were about £60 each.
So it's about $120 depending on.
Yeah, something like that. So pretty reasonable. But Victoria said last year she booked that trip, or she was going to book that trip for her and my mom, and they were like £400 each.
Wow.
So, yeah, because it was like, see, because they see England, they don't see England geographically, right? It's like it's only Michigan, you know what I mean? Like it's not that big, it's not that big. But when they look at it, they say, well, no, this rail pass, and you're going across the entire country, the entire island. You know?
Right, because we looked at exactly that same thing. We'll likely spend a lot more time in Scotland than the other two countries.
Is that more Masonic?
It is. So Masonry's roots really go back to like Scotland in the mid 1700s.
Okay.
So you find a lot of Masonic stuff over there. I mean, really the whole area, but really clustered. Like I don't know if you could stumble down drunk in Scotland without hitting your head on a square and compass.
Yeah.
It's just so. But anyway, so so we already looked at that. Like it's an 8-hour train ride from Edinburgh to London. And we're like, that'd be a fantastic way to spend the last day, just to see the English countryside, blah blah blah. We can go to London. We can either go straight to the airport or spend one more night and fly out or whatever. But yeah, so it's kind of fun.
Just one other thing, another article, or one other thing that Victoria told me, that when you book tickets and you'll hopefully remember this when you go to book tickets. So if you're booking from Edinburgh to London, what you wanted, so you find which train you're going to ride on, find some stops and what times they're stopping. That oftentimes it ends up being cheaper
to get off the train.
Not to get off, but just to buy tickets for pieces. So it's the same train and you don't have to actually exit the train, but to buy like 3
you just have to have the ticket.
Yeah, exactly. To buy 3 tickets instead of just the one long one, it ends up being cheaper. And even though it's the same actual.
And that makes a lot of sense because that snookers the tourists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, because if you're an American, you're traveling over there and you don't think about all the little places in between. You just like, I need to go to London to Edinburgh, so that's one train ticket. That's going to be cheaper, right?
Yep.
That's funny. That's really good.
So, like I said, to keep that in mind when you do book your tickets. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
I'll keep you updated on that, just in case you find yourself in country about the time that we're there.
So I have 2 other things here that I really want to talk to you about. Is did you watch any YouTube videos this week?
Precious little. Only literally the last Tuesday is. So I haven't watched this
because we were just talking about because the biggest thing I was looking for was kind of YouTubers to emulate, right? YouTubers to say that if I do that.
I will say that of the YouTube videos that I have watched, I I don't know if they would necessarily classify as folks that I would like to emulate, but it is more of a thing that, like, holy cow, you can put anything on this this medium, and people are watching it.
Well, have you heard of the New Boston? Have we talked about that?
The New Boston? No, I haven't.
Let me send you that one. Actually, you can probably find it as quick as I can. The New Boston YouTube, and I'll look at it too. So this is a guy. His name is Bucky Roberts. I believe he works for Google, but he puts these videos together.
Here we go.
If you go to playlists, just for example, so if you go to the playlist tab, I think this is this latest one, Python website scanner tutorials.
Yep.
Whoops. So he has 1 million subscribers to his channel. And most of these videos have 10, 20,000 views.
And these are geeky topics.
These are published about a month ago. And
these are, there's a Git tutorials playlist.
Yeah. But they're so wide, the topics are so wide that he doesn't know these technologies, right? I mean, he learns enough to do the videos, obviously, right? So, I don't fault him for that. I mean, that's good, right? I mean, I think that's a good way to do it, because I think it's really difficult, and we've talked about this before, but it's really difficult for you to make hundreds and hundreds of Rails videos, for example, because now you're making some of your videos are going to be so deep, right, that it's like useless to people, right?
And I think that's
people that care,
right. And well, and then you get it's hard to stay interested in it. I think that's might be what happened to Ryan Bates and Railscast. They haven't had a new Railscast in years. But yeah, so continually doing something new could be interesting.
But I mean, you know what Wireshark is, right? I mean, Wireshark is an application. So I mean, like that type of stuff. I mean, that's like crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you have like an Adobe Illustrator CS6 for beginners tutorial.
Yeah. So, I mean, and if you take a look at the length of some of these videos, that they're pretty short.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of them, or most of them, are like 4 minutes long.
Yeah, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. He has one topic, he hits it, and he's done.
And we kind of talked about that last time, I think, where that sweet spot seems to be in like the that 5 minute range. Okay, so click on his channels, his featured channels.
Yeah.
Take a look at Vsauce, 10 million subscribers or 9 million subscribers.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. That's why I just looked here, and it's like, holy cow! This is there's such a wide range, but that seems to be a lot of these are in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
But that one really jumps out. Oh no! Oh, that's popular on YouTube. 29 million. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
and Marcus Brownie, with 2 million. What are those?
Right. So that's the thing. So so I think that finding some folks who are emulatable, right? And yeah, I mean, I don't want to be like some kind of jerk off or whatever, but there's plenty of folks who aren't.
Yeah. Oh, and this guy, so the Marcus Brownie looks like he's just doing product reviews.
That's pretty.
They're about 6 minutes long. The first one that pops up here is the Google Nexus 5 review.
The hard part about this is
getting
the product. So he has enough subscribers that these folks are sending him products to review.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So he's getting this stuff for free and probably, sends most of it back. But like I said, some of this stuff this is a hard channel to do.
Now, the Vsauce, on the other hand, I think this is all about
I think it's just science.
science or illusion.
Oh.
Well, no, I think they might be right. Science in general, the science evolution.
Yeah.
Will we ever run out of new music? I think the answer to that is we have.
Yeah, I mean, he does. Yeah, these are weird.
Guns in space. Actually, I kind of want to watch that, and apparently, I fall right in with the 13 million other people.
Yeah. Yes.
Is your red the same as my red? That's it.
That's interesting.
These are actually really interesting, and I think that the thing with these is you would likely find yourself clicking on this in Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Like messages from the future. Of course, I want to know what's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the other thing that I've been looking at is, like lights and microphones and webcams and the different things that those guys use. So I have moved a light in here. I don't know. I don't know if you can tell that the camera is brighter. You probably can't because I used to have good daylight coming in, but since the daylight's
I know
it's just pitch black out there. So.
Well, what's interesting, I must have searched it for something because I'm getting retargeted by Wistia on Facebook, and I find myself clicking a lot of their stuff, so I'm going to keep getting retargeted. But it's like download or ebook on video for the web, blah blah blah, and yeah, so they do a lot of like video, lighting, some really interesting blog articles on lighting, what lights to choose, what they like to work with.
What is that? Will you put a link in the?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm usually on my phone when I'm actually doing it, but let's see. Yeah, and their video or their business is video hosting, so that kind of makes sense. Here's the company website, and I would say probably finding maybe Learn, is that their blog? Yeah, so Learn seems to be what their blog is.
Okay, cool.
And signing up for their newsletter, you get some interesting stuff. But browse through there, and is there a search perhaps? Oh, there's actually they have a blog. There's what do they got in the way of video here? Okay, so the next time I find a decent article from them on Facebook, I'll actually throw it into Slack right away.
Yeah,
because they do. They've had some good videos on how to do video with your iPhone or
okay,
and stuff like that. Because like we said, we're you're still using your built-in camera. You haven't gotten
I ordered one, so just today it shipped. It's good, so it's on its way. It's like
it's like
$70 clip-on.
Yeah, and like lighting. They gave really good examples or how-tos on lighting, how they light when they're doing like a video tutorial, or something like that, and what backdrops they're using, and they shoot all of their video with a digital SLR. So they're not using, they're using a high-end camera, but not necessarily a high-end movie camera.
Right.
So that probably also means that, they're using, not real high-end audio stuff either, but, good enough.
Yeah. Well, so behind you, right? Or sorry, not behind you, but behind your camera, is that the rest of the room? You have more room back there?
I do, yeah. I have a little bit more room back there.
See, I don't really. So behind my camera is a wall right here.
Okay.
In order for me to put lighting on that side, I might have to kind of shift the office.
Reconfigure it a little bit. And I don't think that it would take, because they, if I'm remembering that article, they were recommending like a soft fluorescence, positioned, slightly above so that it's casting light down.
Okay.
And the biggest thing is that, you don't have shadows on your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's casting, slightly above and you're looking down, then it gets rid of the black under your eye. And one of the hardest things hardest people to light when you're wearing glasses, getting rid of the glasses. And so they had a recommendation for that, try to, get non-reflective lenses. And
I paid for non-reflective lenses, but I can see that they're at least I paid for them. What I should do, see, I only wear glasses when I'm at the computer. So I don't really need them. But if I were to take them off right now, then everything is really blurry.
Yeah,
like if I come in the morning and forget to put them on, I'm okay and everything is fine. So it's just a matter of, before I get on camera to take them off and have them off for an hour, and then I'll be able to see. Because I do notice there's a glare on them.
Well, like you said, it all depends on what you're talking about too. If you're some of those videos, like the one that you showed me first, the new Boston, all of those are screencasts. It's like,
he doesn't appear.
He doesn't appear on it at all. So those are super easy. It's like, so get Camtasia for that, because then you can just record that one thing, and you can record a separate audio channel or independent audio channel.
Yeah.
Let me throw that in I think I've thrown that in Slack before, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And if you can, find it sometimes you can find it on sale. AppSumo will have it like half price every now and then, or a code to get it half price. And it's always, I'm glad that I got it, but I think I got it for $49. And if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going for, but it's $100 by Mac. Yeah, it's $100. Even at $100, it's still worth it. It's way worth it. Way easier to use. Much easier to use than Final Cut, and Final Cut's much more expensive.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it. I don't think you can do screen capture with Final Cut.
I don't think so.
Right.
And I've not looked at Final Cut in a long while, but I don't think that you can. And and outside of editing, and with Camtasia, you can actually upload directly to YouTube. So you can edit, do whatever processing you want, and then just export it directly to YouTube.
Right.
Then save whatever file. So it actually kind of saves a step. But for the 5 to 10 minute videos that we kind of want to do, or want to try to do, Camtasia seems to be the best tool on the market for it. Because why spend so much money on Final Cut? You don't need all these different layers and special effects and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that I used iMovie. Just worked out pretty well. iMovie was just fine for that. Actually, if you want to see, let me try to pause this. If you're interested, this is, it's 2 minutes, but I'll put it in here for you anyway. This is my niece and nephew. The thumbnail is my nephew, my brother's son, and then the other baby is.
Now is this iMovie?
Yeah, that's iMovie. There's audio. I don't know if you're hearing.
Oh, I'm definitely getting the audio.
Oh, okay.
How do you officiate weddings?
What's that?
Oh, you got an ad by Google in there. All right.
Oh, the reason those ads show up is because of the music. So the music is copyrighted music.
Ah, okay.
And it's one of the songs that if you're allowed to use it, it's okay if you use it, but they're going to put an ad. So that ad that goes up is they make revenue on it, like the song.
Okay.
So
that's pretty funny. The music adds a lot to it, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you did a really good job at doing the slow motion and kind of transitioning to that. That's really good.
So like I said, for iMovie, it's actually pretty cool. I thought.
How long did it take you to do that?
Probably 40 minutes.
That's pretty good,
Probably
man.
less than
I'm
an
pretty
hour.
impressed.
But
Yeah.
like the whole time they were here, I was filming. I showed my video camera, so I was like, "Did I show you my new video camera?"
Huh.
Yeah. So this is FDR AX33.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that mine is just a little bit different than that.
Yeah. Oh, because that's right. We talked about them, didn't we?
Yeah, and mine's probably a little outdated compared to yours. I think I got mine 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yours records, it's 1080p. Is that the highest it'll record?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, this one does 4K, and that's what I recorded all this stuff in, but I don't.
And I'm not even, and I think we talked about this before, that not real sure if the eye can really even pick that up.
Right. That's true.
Well, unless you're like 50 feet away.
Right.
And you have a wall-sized TV, which
right. So I will show you one effect if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch the whole thing, but
I stopped it because I couldn't hear you.
If you will put it at about 1 minute and 14 seconds and watch about 10 seconds from there.
I'm going to go 110 and I'll start there.
And then watch about 10 seconds of that. So there's a little yeah, so that was a fast motion one.
Yeah, I like the fast motion.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, that was pretty simple to do, and
you could probably film this with your what phone are you using these days? Are you still on a Nexus or?
Yeah, it's it's an HTC. However, well, and that's coming up in the show notes here, that I am actually right about to switch to T-Mobile. So, and I think I'm going to switch to an iPhone when we switch to T-Mobile.
Really?
Yeah. I tell you, this phone.
You resisted an iPhone for so long.
I have, but the thing is, and you won't be able to see it on the screen, it's so slow to react sometimes. Like, it just gets bogged down, and I don't know what it's doing or what it's working on. But it just, I open it, or you know what I mean? Like, because it's got like a smart cover on it.
Yeah.
So when I open it, it just takes forever for it to light up.
Huh.
For me, I push a button, push an icon, and it's, like 15, 20 seconds of nothing.
Oh man, the other night, it's the first time it's ever happened to me, but my iPhone got all possessed. It like got behind in all the clicks that I was trying, or all the tabs I was trying to do.
Oh.
And I had different applications opening up and, touching this, that, going back and forth. I'm like, I had to just force quit my phone.
Really?
Shut the whole thing down because, because nothing was responding. And you know how you get when nothing's responding.
Yeah.
And then everything just started blowing up.
Oh.
I'm like, oh no. I started a chain reaction here. And
so what service do you have now?
We've been with Verizon for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, so as soon as Verizon got the iPhone, we switched from AT&T to Verizon. And we've ended up purchasing our iPhones outright ever since because we're still we've been when we switched, we got on their unlimited data plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way for us to stay on that plan is if we purchase the phones outright. So as soon as they started allowing you to subsidize the phones with like contracts, that automatically breaks your unlimited data plan.
Yeah.
And Jess uses more data than I do, but between the two of us, I mean, even their top tier plan, we're just blowing that away per month. And I think the reason that we do blow that, we use so much data is because we can.
Yeah, right.
If I want to download a full-length movie from Netflix, I will, and I don't care if I'm on Wi-Fi or, in fact, I never care if I'm on Wi-Fi.
No. so it must be fast then as well. So you must.
Yeah. So and most, so in my house I have LTE.
Okay.
And then anywhere in the Portland area, it's all LTE. So
So were you unlimited 4G?
Yeah.
LTE. So that's good. Yeah. So T-Mobile has an unlimited plan that's kind of expensive, but So T-Mobile does offer unlimited data, but what they do is what you buy is, and I think the one we're going to buy is 5 gigabytes of 4G, and then
Okay,
after
and then
5
they
gigabytes,
switch you down.
drop to the 3G or whatever it drops.
Yeah.
To. But
So,
they just recently, I think it's called Jump. I'll have to check something. It's called something where they have services that don't count towards your data now. So Netflix is one, Spotify is another, and there's and Hulu and not YouTube yet. So they said they're working on YouTube. Yeah, but there's so these things that don't count toward that your data limit. So
that's pretty nice. Yeah, for us, I mean, I don't know. We might be able to lower our bill a little bit because I don't mind buying the iPhones or whatever from Apple and getting them at my leisure, not having to deal with a Verizon salesperson or anything like that. Not having to worry about contracts and if I decide that I want to sell my iPhone to someone and buy an AT&T iPhone, I can do that.
Right.
No contract.
Right. Yeah. So the other thing possibly to consider, and I don't know about Verizon, but the thing that made me look at T-Mobile first was my brother in England is able to use his phone like normal.
Well, and that is because T-Mobile still, instead of using CDMA, uses GSM.
Yeah.
And if I traveled internationally more, I would probably want, and that because that's the nice thing with AT&T too. AT&T did the GSM phones as well.
See, but for me to use my AT&T phone, it costs money. I have to add it to my plan and plan for it and do it. Where with T-Mobile, it just works. My brother gets off the plane and he can use Wi-Fi calling, and, unlimited data, unlimited texting, and Wi-Fi calling internationally without doing anything different. It just works.
See, that makes sense because it seems to be how it ought to work.
Yeah.
Well, and the other reason that we moved away from AT&T, where my parents are, terrible reception on just about everything. Like that northwest region of Ohio, T-Mobile gets like no service. Just had T-Mobile when we first met, and she moved away from that pretty fast. Because she'd come down and visit or whatnot, and her phone wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So going to visit the family in Ohio, it's nice to actually be able to somewhat reliably use your phone. But even with Verizon, it's still so spotty.
Yeah. Where your parents are, is it rural? Is it rural?
Yes, it's definitely rural Ohio.
Yeah. That's how it is here a little bit. So we don't have AT&T service is kind of spotty. I have we have a thing called an MCell, which is a thing that runs off the network. So I plug it in, the phones connect to it. So, but certain times a day, between 2 and 4 p.m. here, we get kind of slow internet, frequently, and that means that the phones are a little iffy through the MCell because they're through the network.
Yeah.
So kind of off that topic, I just noticed another thing on my list, and I just don't want to run out of time because I have something I do want to discuss with you that I think you'll enjoy. We talked last week about battling burnout and the 6 months on and 6 months off.
Uh-huh.
Well, I knew we had heard that before. That's from the 4-hour work week.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with it, and that was a much less extreme, where you work for 5 years, take 1 year off or something.
Yeah.
I think that's more like the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
Where you take these mini retirements, maybe.
Or he's off for like 15 to 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where that, because it's certainly feasible to, work a contract, take a couple of months off. And I can see where you could feasibly do it for maybe up to 18 months. You work 5 years, probably have to live somewhat frugal or whatnot. But but it depends on where you go. If you're working and getting paid, and this is absolutely from the 4-hour work week. So working and getting paid in a better currency. So for right now, U.S. dollar, British pound, something like that. You're getting paid in a top tier currency, and then you decide to spend 18 months in Argentina, where the exchange rate is, is nuts. But it's because their fiat dollar collapsed, back in the late 80s or late 90s. So very, very, very favorable. Or no, because it was 2005 or something like that. But very favorable for people with dollars to live or visit Argentina, because you get a 4-to-1 exchange rate, or 8-to-1 or something like that. It's crazy,
right?
But and so I think the same thing could be said if you spend time in Southeast Asia, or earn money in first world currency and then vacation in safe metropolitan zones in quote unquote second or third world, and it starts to work out pretty well.
I told you about the outsourced team that's in India that's currently that's working on a website for me, that they are $15 an hour is what they charge.
Yep.
And so I could live near where they live,
sure,
and make $70 an hour. Certainly that seems like something I could work for 2 months and then take 6 months off.
Right. Well, and then also so another good example, a contractor that I'm currently working with, he is building a team, kind of like what you and I had always talked about, having a stable of developers and working on several projects. So he's actually done that. And I've been talking with him about how he's done it and how he's trying to set it up. But basically hiring junior developers. He generally specs everything out, bids on projects, gets awarded them, and then it does the architecture. But leaves the actual coding to them. Does code reviews and teaching them as they go, and then. So it's kind of working out. So he's making money at that. But one thing that he's doing, he's looking at either relocating half of his team or starting a team in Colombia.
Oh yeah.
And I always, I didn't really understand the current political climate in Colombia, but it's not all drug cartels.
I had no idea.
Who knew?
Yeah.
But there's a couple of, there's like the capital and, a couple of other cities that is, for all intents and purposes, safe for Westerners or, particularly like white Americans to visit.
Yeah.
Certain areas of Colombia, not so much. Don't go to the Amazon, he says.
They're cheaper.
Absolutely. So he was telling me about a apartment that he's thinking about purchasing down there, $120,000 American, but it's a penthouse apartment on one of the taller buildings in this city, and it's gated, guarded, blah blah blah, for $120,000. And his thought is, he'll purchase it. He'll try to be down there, 6 months out of the year, thereabouts. And when he's not there, he'll just rent it out.
Yeah.
You could probably make that money back fairly quickly on Airbnb.
That's good thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a person actually, that I know firsthand, it's actually doing exactly that, wanting. And the reason he knows about Colombia is his wife was born in Colombia.
Oh.
And came here as a child.
See, that might be someone that either both of us or just you or something interviews, and we can, like I said, if you and him had a Zoom meeting,
oh yeah,
you could upload that episode. It'd be pretty.
Yeah, that could, yeah, absolutely, that could be pretty interesting.
So kind of along that same line, I guess, maybe change. So let's come back for a second. But as I look at this list of things for the show notes, do you think that in the hour we should try to talk about like 2 things Or do you think that a show like this that's an hour long is better to have touched on 6 or 7 things?
I think that we'll get a better feel for it as we go, because it's kind of nice to know where we're going with the topic. But then again, not to be so prescribed that we either don't cover a topic in depth enough, or go way down the rabbit hole. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that if as we start getting a couple more of these under our belts, we'll start to get an idea for what we want to be. Because right now, I think we're getting ready to be fairly good at keeping it at about an hour without going over too much.
Yeah.
And really, if we can pare that down to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, that might even be better.
So if we could aim for 30 minutes, I think that would probably be easier for people to watch anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if we pared it down to 30 minutes and we took, like I said, I'm sitting here with, probably a dozen topics that listed. If we pared it down to 2, right? And we spoke about, we talked about, my upcoming trip to England. We talked a little bit about your trip to England, and then we talked about the cell phones, and that was it. See you next week, right?
Yeah, and then next week we just kind of go on for to something else. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, the other consideration is if it's only 30 minutes, I can do this Tuesday and Thursday, or,
sure.
Monday and Thursday, whatever. Right? I mean, so if we were holding it to 30 minutes, we can do it twice a week, and we can say, here's our 2 topics, and then we can crank more out.
Well, let's plan on that for next Tuesday then. That we'll go for 30 minutes and then have 2 more or less main guideposts to kind of guide the conversation.
So, well, here's I couldn't find my 4-hour workweek book, so I ordered another one along with my camera. So that's coming. So I should have it read by next week. So let's throw that in there. Let's throw this the mini retirements on the schedule for next Tuesday. And
I will reread it, and let's talk about the 4-hour work week and how that might apply to 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because he talks about, if I remember correctly, he talks about having a muse and coming up with niche websites.
Yep.
Everyone is doing that now, right? I mean, it's very difficult to. So there's definitely things to be changed. Another thing that I'd like to talk about, we'll throw it on the block and we can see. So I think you've probably heard the story about the guy who worked at Verizon who outsourced his job. Remember that?
I think I have heard this, yes.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that and saying, well, what if I hired someone, so like I said, I work with this offshore team. They're on Skype. What if I hired one of those guys to do some of this work, right, for the company that I work for, right? And then I was like, well, but then, I would still spend probably almost as much time managing them and trying to say, hey, so-and-so on the phone, or sent me an IM and said, do this, right? So it'd be a lot of management. So we step it up another level and say, well, that person also needs to attend meetings, and do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you can outsource that part, but obviously they would have, an Indian accent and, and they wouldn't speak the same way I do. So what if you back up another level and that person actually did the interview and was like the only person they ever knew? So they weren't hiring me and I was shoving someone else in between. They were hiring this other person as Paul Williams using my resume, but they're qualified, right? I mean, they answer technical questions and they're a developer and they do all that, but they're offshore. They're happy with $20 an hour. They're available Eastern Standard Time.
I think that I think that you start getting in a gray contractual area there, whereas I don't know. I mean, I think that it could probably be done, but ethically, ethically, I'm not sure if you want to, start going down that path.
Well, so I'm certainly not planning on doing it. So I'm not actually going to do it. But I was just thinking, like, well, certainly people, if I have like a ton of work to do, if I have 80 hours of work to do this week, I can say, hey, help me with this. Here's some stuff. They do it. I can get it back. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? As long as I'm not giving.
Well, and this is where, you're almost better off going into that developer shop, so that when you actually go into to the interview, hey, you're not just hiring me, but you're hiring my team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I need to bring my, I'm going to be doing all of your work if that's what you want, but it's here's the blended rate for that.
Yeah.
Or if they only want you, that blended rate goes up because your time is finite. But if you can expand, scale out.
The tough part with that is, how do you find those gigs, right? I mean, where are those gigs? That's who you know. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think that starts to get into contacts and requests for proposals and stuff like that. Because it's not unlike how we got started. Because that's what the first company that we worked with did. They knew a person that had a project, and they wanted to build out a team.
Yeah.
And that worked out pretty well.
I mean, Craig, we can say Craig. Craig went and met with the people, and they didn't think that Craig was going to be doing any coding.
No, and it wasn't sold.
Aware that he was going to hire people to do it. And if he would have come back and hired people and paid them $15 an hour, then that's his business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
So I mean, that being said, it's like, we start removing ourselves out of the role of developer and becoming a business manager, or hiring a business manager or a salesperson to go out and find those gigs and selling, development, onshore development. But I also think, when we worked with the company in Costa Rica, I think that there's also a niche to be said, that you have an onshore company that can interface with an offshore team.
Yeah, right.
That can kind of break that down a little bit. So you're almost like a CTO for hire, or a technology partner. That's helping with whatever the project might be. So that kind of keeps costs down for everyone. But certainly if you're charged, in a case like that, if you're billing $50 an hour, or for this project, or maybe $60 an hour, and you're really not developing it, but an offshore company is developing it, and you're acting as the project manager or technology manager, I think you're still going to be coming off pretty well. So that could be an interesting idea.
Yeah. That's good. I was, like I said, I wasn't actually planning on doing it. I was more just toying with the idea of, at which point does it become fraud, right? At which point does it?
I think you nailed it, though.
We did figure out which part it is fraud. Yeah. Okay, so next week, let's do this. Yeah, Tuesday, I put down 4-hour work week, and then you mentioned earlier this week that your team had recently switched to KanBan.
We did.
I was interested to hear about that switch and what the difference is.
Yeah, and we can chat about that, and if we can get back on topic of, because I think this is a pretty good big topic. How do you go from single developer, single freelancer to two? So making that jump to U+1, and making money at that.
Oh, you're saying going and getting a job, you know.
Well, no, not even so much a job. And so you're the freelancer. Maybe you're doing, you know, projects or whatever. But so how do you make that? So contract wise, you know, yeah, they're hiring you. You know, at least you know my current project. You know, they're expecting me doing the coding.
That's same with me. Yeah.
But think, you know, another project that you bid on, and they, you know, a company hires you to do it, because I have a different website. They don't care who's doing the coding. They just, you know, want something done. You know, so how do you, from a control standpoint, how do you go from you doing the work to saying, hey, Jim, you know, why don't you come over here? Or hey, Jane, you know, I want to hire you to do this.
Right.
And,
or saying,
you know,
hey, Harminder, let me have you, you know, let's communicate on Skype and I'll have you do that.
Right. You know, so making that leap from single freelancer to, you know, more of a team or company or, you know, whatever, you know, so you're leveraging other people to help with your work. And I think that'll kind of tie in with the 4-hour hour.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think, yeah, exactly. Because if you can have one person do it, then you could have 2 people do it. And that means you can go get another one. And
so replacing yourself from the equation.
Yeah. So that I like that topic too. You know, I'll write that down for next week. So, all right, that's good. Yep. So yeah, so let's do that. Let's aim for 30 minutes next Tuesday, and we'll hit these. Hopefully, yeah, my book is supposed to come tomorrow, so we can read it over the weekend. And,
yeah, it's a short book.
Yeah. So, all right, sounds great. Have a nice weekend.
All right, you as well. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay.